Hello guys, and welcome to lesson 3 of my beginner Adobe Premiere Pro Masterclass. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a new sequence and how to import files into your timeline in Premiere Pro. Now, there are several ways to create a sequence in Premiere Pro. The first way is to come over to File over here and select New and select Sequence. And you could come over to Sequence Presets over here and select from any of the presets over here. For example, if your video was shot at 1080p, 23 frames per second, you select this. If it's at 25 frames, you select what sequence works with your footage. For example, if your video is at 4K, you come over here, you select Ultra HD 4K, and you select one of the resolutions that goes with it. But if you want to manually create a sequence, come over here to Settings, and under the editing mode here, you can leave it at custom and manually change your sequence from 1920 by 1080 to whatever settings works best for your clip. For example, you want to change the frame size if it's 1920 by 1080, or if it's a lesser video size or a higher video size. You may also want to change the aspect ratio over here and all these settings. But if you don't want to go through all this technicality, you can come over to the editing mode over here and change it to the settings of your camera. For example, if we come over here, you can see DSLR, you can see ProRes RAW, you can see for Red Cinema cameras. If you scroll down over here, you can see for Sony cameras over here. And if you go up here, you can also see for Canon cameras over here. So basically, you can just select what best works for the video you shot. And if you're okay, we have Arri Cinema. For example, if you select Arri Cinema over here, you can come over here and make it either 4K and whatever you like. Once you're done, you can come here and save it as a preset, right? You can save it as a preset and hit OK. And the moment you do that, you'll notice that a sequence have been added here into our project panel over here. Remember, in our last video, we created a video folder and we put in some videos into that folder. We created a photo folder and we put in some pictures. So basically, we organized our panel over here. So now you can see that a sequence has been added over here. Also, if you notice in the timeline, you will notice that a sequence has been added here. It's called sequence 6. Now, what is a sequence? A sequence is a simple and ordered list or numbers on your timeline where you arrange and edit and apply effects to your videos, photos, or audio clips. So if you come over here now, you see we have video track layer 1, video track layer 2, video track layer 3, audio 1, a 2 which stands for audio 2, a 3 which stands for audio 3, meaning that you can come over here now and stack your videos because you've created a sequence. So if I come here and close this sequence by hitting X, you will notice that we no longer have a sequence. And there's a text here that says drop media here to create a sequence. So before you begin to work on your project, you need to first create a sequence. So if we come over here and come over to this icon for this our sequence and double click it, our sequence will now reopen in our timeline over here. Another way to create a sequence, I'm going to go ahead and select this sequence over here and delete it. Another way to create a sequence is to select a video clip and drag that video clip onto your timeline over here where it says drop media here to create sequence. And the moment I did that, all right, this is a video that was shot with my iPhone camera. So this sequence has been created. And if you select this video now, if you come over to sequence and sequence settings, you will notice that this sequence was created using the settings of that particular video. For example, the frame size, the aspect ratio, the display format, frame per second, and everything, width and height, 1920 by 1080. It followed the sequence settings of this particular video. That's a faster way to create a sequence. If you don't want to go through the process of coming up here to File and coming down here to select New and coming down here to select Sequence, and then either you select a preset or come to Settings and begin to toggle off all of that, I'm just going to hit Cancel. You can just simply select a video and drag it onto your timeline over here to create a sequence. I'm going to go ahead and delete that video as well and come over here, select that sequence and delete that sequence. Another way to create a sequence is to hold down any video or image over here, select it and drag it onto this new item icon over here and release it. The moment you release it, it creates this sequence over here, right? It creates this sequence over here. It's important that you note that when creating a sequence from a clip, the first clip that you import into your timeline defines the settings of that sequence. So for example, if I should bring in a landscape clip, it means that I'm going to be creating a landscape video. This is a landscape video. Now, if I come over to my timeline over here and select this icon to see the thumbnail view of these videos, and I double click on this folder, if I click on thumbnail view, you will notice that some of these clips here are actually in the portrait form. So if I come here now and select one of these and import it here, you'll notice that while one is landscape, we have another one here which is portrait. That's what is creating these black bars by the left and the right, right? So it's important that you take note of that. So if you want to create a portrait video, the first video you're importing in should be a portrait. And if you want to export as a landscape video, the first video you import in should be a landscape video. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. I prefer using the list view. So you can always hit this back arrow to go back. And I'm going to set it once more to become a list view. Always remember, guys, this icon here signifies sequence. So this is our sequence. One thing I would suggest you always do is to come over here and right click on your sequence and rename this sequence. I don't always like when my sequence is showing from the name of the clip. So I'm going to change this to crusade because I'm actually editing a video of a crusade, right? So whenever I see this project crusade, I can always reference it. Another thing I like to do after creating a sequence from a clip is to delete that clip. And the reason why I delete that clip is so that I can properly sort out my clips before importing them into my timeline. Another thing you need to know is that we can actually create multiple sequences. For example, we've created this sequence, which is a landscape sequence. If you want to create another sequence, maybe you want to edit for a project, but you want to create multiple versions like this. For example, if I come over here and select the landscape view and I select maybe my videos folder and I make this also the landscape view. Let's say I want to edit two videos from this project. One is a portrait version and one is a landscape version. If I select this, any of the portrait versions, and drag it once more to this new item icon over here, you will notice that this is a portrait version. Now, if we come over here, we have two sequences. This is the sequence that I've just created now. If I scroll up, you would notice, okay, let me change it back to the list view. And let me look for that sequence I created now. Okay, this is the new sequence we've created. Remember, from this icon over here, I can come over here and select it. I can change the name to Crusade Portraits so that I'll know that I'm working on two videos. One is landscape and one is portrait, and deselect it. And now we have Crusade. Oh, I missed a spelling there. And Crusade Portrait. So if we come over here, we have the landscape. Now with this landscape, if I make this a thumbnail view, I can bring in my landscape video over here and edit my landscape videos over here, while I still have another sequence here for editing my portrait videos, just in case if you want to work on multiple projects at the same time. All right, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and delete both the landscape and delete the portrait from here, and I'm going to show you the best way to import clips onto your timeline in Premiere Pro. To import clips onto your timeline in Premiere Pro, the first thing you need to do is I'll suggest that you use your source monitor over here to preview your clips, and you use in points and out points. So for example, if I double click on this clip over here, it reveals my source monitor over here. And this monitor allows me to preview the videos before I import them into my timeline over here. So when you come over here and you scroll to the beginning, you can preview this video and mark where you want to import the video from. So let's imagine that I want to import the video to start from this point here. I'll select this left bracket icon here or hit I on my keyboard. And if I scroll past over here to any point where I want it to end, for example, I can hit O on my keyboard or select this right bracket over here. Now, if I want to import both the video and the audio portions, I will drag in the video from the monitor over here onto my timeline, and as you can see, it has imported both the video and the audio. But what if you want to import only the video? Just come over here to these two icons over here. You can see a video icon that says drag video only, and drag the video onto your timeline. But what if you want to drag only the audio? I will select my audio file over here and drag only the audio onto my timeline over here. So what you need to do is to do that for all your clips. Select the next clip, move to the portion where you want to begin to add to your timeline. For example, I could prefer where he's dancing here. Select my in points and move further a bit just before he stops dancing. Okay, I like it here, and mark my out points and drag in only the video portion over here. And that's it, guys, on how to create your sequence and import files into your timeline in Premiere Pro. See you guys in my next tutorial.